of your time. Thank you for the permission. I would like to introduce to us our next speaker. Wow, what a topic is she's going to deliver as well. We are all working in the spirit. Okay, so Y.Y.C.I International Academic is inviting Professor Dr. Mehreen Mia from South Africa to deliver to us this morning on understanding of emotional intelligence and how to manage people as a leader and a manager as well. Professor Dr. Mehreen Mia from South Africa is an ambassador, is Global Goodwill Ambassador for UNGIAA USA, holding dual doctorates in humanities, education, and humanitarianism. Through our international and local work in education and resources training, Professor Mia has earned multiple global awards, including our most recent award being the World Most Influential and Iconic Leader, as well as the Award for Global Academic Excellence Award 2023 from the International Confederation of Worldwide Principals and James International School. Professor Mia is the founder of the MIA program designed to help every individual to motivate, inspire, and advance themselves to the best version for their journey. She's an NLP master and CBT practitioner, being a transformational mental health wellness advocate globally, and is passionate about empowering of women and children and youth and humanity. Professor Mia is the president of Success World Academy, SA, South Africa, vice president of Y.Y.C.I International, UK versus South Africa, and president of Chipako International Women's Council, among our portfolios. Professor Mia is an international co-author of an amazing bestseller, Relationship Matters, Volume 1 to 4, with Y.Y.C.I and the Honorable Queen Elizabeth Lucas. Professor Mia is a lifelong learner and woman of purpose. You know the reason why I was laughing, because I didn't expect my name to be on your profile. Okay, you are welcome, ma'am.
Thank you so much, my dear Honorable. So I greet everyone in the universal greeting of peace with blessings. And before I continue, let me say thank you so much, Professor Betty, for allowing me to speak, and for your understanding as well, Dr. Stephen and Dr. Fatah. I must just say thank you to my mentor, Professor Queen Elizabeth Lucas, for understanding of my not being here last week. And yes, it was very difficult at time. But, you know, when we have mentors like each of us here on this platform, and when we have leaders that we know, somehow we're able to get through things. And no matter what it may be or how difficult it may be, we're able to bounce back. And God is great in that respect. So in that essence, we pray for continued strife through the difficult times, but we also pray that we continue to grow through them in strength, because when we lose people, we don't really lose them. I think we gain. We have to look at it as how do we gain from them. And that was one of my reasons for being able to come back this quickly. I just felt going back into a rut is not what this person would have wanted. He was like my brother, a mentor, a pillar. And one of the things that he always did was bounce back. So if I take from him, I take the lessons from him. So I didn't lose him. We didn't lose him as a family. We gained from him. So thank you again for the understanding, ma'am. Yes, I'm talking today about a topic very passionate to me. It's about emotional intelligence. It's about people. And the thing for me that's very key about it is to ask questions. Whether you're sitting in a leadership role now, whether you're wanting to become a leader later, it's about you asking questions. And when you're asking these questions, it's also about you being honest with the answers you give them. So, are you actually an emotionally intelligent person? Somebody may say those are huge terms. It's about your psychological techno-Javi. No, it's not. It's very simple. Are you intelligent about your emotion? Do you understand yourself well enough to know what your emotions are doing to you? Do you understand yourself enough to know when you need a timeout and before you make a decision because your emotions are overtaking you? So these are transformative questions, if I may use the word, about how intelligent you are about yourself, about your emotions. Because we know that emotional intelligence is about this ability you have to understand and manage your emotions first. So the second part of my topic for today is how to manage people. But why I'm focusing on you as an individual is because before I can manage anybody, whether it's my family, whether it's my company, whether it's people that work for me, I need to learn how to manage myself first. So your emotional intelligence is about how do you understand you and how do you manage yourself and your emotions effectively? Because when you understand you, then you understand the needs and emotions of those around you. So then making decisions, for example, becomes a little bit easier. People who are emotionally intelligent, they seem to know what they're feeling. They know why they're feeling what they're feeling. And they also then know how it can impact whatever situation they're sitting in. And remember that these kinds of things are crucial because no matter where you are in the world, your skills, your characteristics, your personality, everything about you rests from your actions. And your actions give off a reaction from people that you're with. So if you don't understand what the triggers are to your actions, how are you going to drive leadership and performance from who you are as a person to get the result you're looking for from those you are trying to manage? Again, it boils down to these questions that you have to ask yourself. Because whether you're a people manager and whether you're running a specific department in a store, whether you are just an employee or whether you're somebody in your home, it doesn't have to be a title attached to you to manage people. A woman in her home is managing people. A child with siblings under the child is managing those people. So, how do you manage these things? And how do you manage the people around you? You have to be responsible for yourself before you can be responsible for others. And improving your emotional intelligence is the key to you doing this very successfully. First for yourself, and of course, then for those around you. Why do we need this? Because by understanding yourself, it allows you to positively see your emotions, even if it is a negative emotion that you're going through. It will strengthen how do I cope with this difficult or stressful situation? How will I manage this? And it keeps you informed about what decisions you may need to take. How must you take them? And it keeps you aligned with you as a person, aligned with you as your values, aligned with who you are, because you want the best for yourself. And of course, you want the best outcomes and the best for those around you. Ultimately, we have to understand, and what this masterclass and everything about us every day is about, is relationships. We build relationships continuously, whether you're walking in a store to buy a loaf of bread, to somebody you're speaking to or interacting with. We're interacting now with millions around the world. We interact daily. And for us to strengthen these relationships, even if it is a strategic one, we have to know how do we communicate effectively and improve that communication with this ability to actually empathize as people, as who we are. Dr. TPS spoke just now about how we have to learn this concept of building and faith between people. And our Honorable Queen Elizabeth spoke about the understanding between people to create peace. That understanding and everything comes from this building of your communication effectively between people and how you empathize with them. When I empathize with people, I'm able to respect. And then that respect amounts to me learning how do I understand? So it helps us to build this relationship that we need to have. And it helps us to value ourselves in situations while we value other people around us too. So this emotional intelligence helps us to build relationships, but while we're doing that, it teaches us how to build the trust that we need with other people. For me to manage people, I have to be able to trust them. I have to be able to trust them what they have to do something or give a task to them to know and trust that they're going to get it done properly. I need to trust it's going to happen, but I need to trust that individual. So building that relationship is so key for you to learn, how do I trust this person? And that will help me in order for me to be able to make the problems we may encounter, we'll be able to find solutions more effectively when I understand myself versus the person I'm giving this task to. Because there's this building of relationship of trust between each other. And when we trust, we're able to agree, we disagree, excuse me, and then we learn. So in the long term, this understanding of the emotional intelligence is going to help us to succeed, whether it's in your workplace or whether it's even in your personal goal. But you have to understand that it starts with you as the individual. I'm not going to spend too much of time on, breaking down the different concepts because I think we've been through that. But we must understand the key concepts of the mark, the self-management key. Of course, we have the self-awareness key, which is a huge, huge portion of how to have your emotional intelligence dealt with. Then you have the social awareness, which is key because, especially when we're talking about managing people, I have to know how to socially interact with them. Again, relationship management, a key core exercise for us to know as leaders, what do we do and how. So when we talk about self-management, what is this? It's simple. It's how to manage you, manage the self, your ability to control your feelings. How do I express my feelings in a manner that is appropriate, of course, with respect in that specific time, in a specific setting, in a specific context, but how do I get my message across given whatever the situation is? Sometimes if you look at a toddlers sometimes can be full of tantrums, in their full flow of tantrums. And sometimes it will be a normal, calm event, but the toddler will be full of trauma and the tantrum comes up. That child does not understand what they're going to do. You, as the adult in the situation, need to take control of that. And you need to manage yourself in the space before you can manage the toddler. And the same can also happen if you're an adult in any given circumstance. If you feel overwhelmed and out of control, sometimes you want to just act on impulse. And then you find people will make a scene or you say something that you're going to regret afterwards. Many of us have done this. None of us are perfect. That's when the sense of self-management will kick in. By taking that step back, if you can just help yourself to recognize what the emotion is, what I'm feeling, and why do I feel this way, then you'll be able to do two things. One, you'll be able to hold yourself accountable. Because remember, when you have to lose yourself in that overwhelming sense and you become out of control, the regret afterward is even worse because then how do you get it back? You can't go back and undo. But if you understand how I manage the self in the process and you're understanding you and your emotion in the process, then the number one key for you is you're going to be able to learn how to hold yourself accountable. And here I want to speak to every leader or everyone who wants to become emotionally intelligent. Do you find that you blame other people continuously when something goes wrong? Do you see that in yourself? Do you see that you are somebody who continuously prefers to blame other people when things are going wrong in your life, when things have gone wrong in your business, when things have gone wrong anywhere, you tend to prefer to blame than to be held accountable yourself? Because when you make a commitment to becoming emotionally intelligent, one of the key factors, and I always teach this, is you're going to learn things about you that you don't actually want to face. The real you, the honest you, who has done wrong, who makes mistakes, but that person becomes accountable to want to learn from those mistakes. And that's what makes you emotionally intelligent. So you can hold yourself accountable. And doing that is a good thing, whatever that may be for you. The point is that you have got to be able to be in control of yourself. When you're in control of you, then you know what part of you needs to be held accountable. So ask yourself right now, are you in control of you? are you able to take ownership of a mistake that you make, even in your leadership capacity? Because for me as a leader, for me the key is when a leader is able to say, I made a mistake and I'm sorry and I learned from it. That teaches the people around me, that teaches the people that work with me that it's okay. I am not perfect and we don't expect that from others, but holding me accountable for me is key to understanding me so that I can grow myself in every situation. And when I'm able to do that, there's something else that I'm practicing. I am practicing how to be mindful. I'm practicing the sense of mindfulness. So the next time you're in a challenging situation, whatever it may be, pay close attention to how you are acting. I said how you are acting, not reacting. How are you acting in that situation? What is the trigger that's happening with you in that space? So the key for me is, how do I manage me? Self-management. It means I got to manage myself in these spaces. Practice a deep breathing exercise, and that is the whole other lecture altogether. But, calm yourself down and manage those emotions before you make the mistake. And if you do make the mistake, be held accountable for it. Hold yourself accountable to it, and then learn from it to grow forward. That's the art of learning. How do I manage me? That doesn't happen quickly. It's something that you have got to learn and grow, make more mistakes and keep growing. But because you want to be the effective leader, that's one thing you're going to want to have to do. I have to keep learning about me, changing certain things about me, transforming me. That's what we're trying to teach in this masterclass. I have to keep learning to transform myself for the better before I can try and transform others. So that's the key concept about the self-management. The second concept we know of is very key as well. Pardon me. It's self-awareness. Now, this is your ability to know yourself. The previous one we spoke about, how do I manage myself? Here is, how do I know myself? Know myself in terms of, how do I connect? I'm connecting with my emotions. How do I connect with my emotion? How do you understand your emotion? And how do you understand what makes you tick? It means that you have to be able to pay attention to your emotion. Pay attention and recognize the effects that emotion is having on you, on your mentality, the effects that that emotion is having on your body, on your behavior. For example, do your emotions cause any physical sensation? Are you feeling a rapid heartbeat? Are you having sweaty palms because of an emotion that you are enduring? Is this making you very anxious so you can't even think clearly? So small things like this you have to become aware of, and then you know what you might need to do to get through that. So remember, self-awareness is key. And of course, with experience again, you become more self-aware through being mindful. Because mindfulness is all about being in the present moment. I am mindful of where I'm at. I'm mindful of what I'm feeling. I'm mindful of what my triggers are. And being in that present moment helps you to tune into, how is my body feeling? How am I actually intelligent about these emotions that I'm going through? Are there different emotions happening within me at the same time? And how are they triggering whatever thought patterns I'm having? But the key is, I'm aware of what's happening with me. That means I will then be able to learn, what do I need to do to calm myself? What do I need to be more, what do I need to do to be more focused in my mind? Being mindful also, remember, can help you become more self-aware. So one of my things that I love doing is writing. I love writing. And sometimes one of the things that helps me to understand me even more is to write about me. So when I'm going through something that's difficult, I write. Whether it's I'm writing to myself about something that's negative about me, whether I write about something that's good that I've developed for the day, but I'm writing. So writing in a little journal about yourself helps you, even as a leader, sitting in whatever corporate space, sitting in whichever space you are in. Write about you and understand you. You're never going to know everything. And the more you get to understand yourself, the better a leader you will be. And for me, journaling helps me to improve my sense of self-awareness. And this is my own personal take that I'm giving you. It helps me to improve. And, I have to say, from some of the writing material, I was able to pick up certain things and write poetry. So I developed certain things about me I never thought I would know until I started writing. So writing just, random things about my days or whatever I was feeling, the journaling every day led to me being able to write articles for magazines, write out poetry when I'm feeling like it. So you don't know what kind of things about you can tap into simply by trying to start something of healing within yourself. So spending that few minutes, pardon me, every day in journaling can help you. It can help you with your self-awareness. Sorry, it can help you with the self-awareness. It can help you with how to improve your concentration. It can help you with your mind. Try it. Try the journaling. It really helps to get it off you. Sometimes many of us, especially once you become leaders in your leadership role, you feel you're not able to express yourself when you are thinking something, especially when it's something negative, to anybody around you because you're sitting in the leadership role. So who better to talk to than to yourself through writing? No one's going to see what you're writing. No one's going to judge you for what you're writing. So write. And sometimes while writing, it's therapeutic enough where you might even see your answer through your journaling that will come to you. The other thing that's important is while you're writing and when you're able to become aware of your emotion, it helps you to understand how to choose what your reaction needs to be. So when you're experiencing a very strong emotion, slow down, examine the emotion, examine what the reaction is. Take a 2-minute break and run away to a bathroom. But slow down instead of just reacting. Take a time out and understand you, no matter what situation you may be in at work, at home. The choice is still within you onto how to react to it. Whether it's with your family, whether it's with your people at work, whether it's you in a store buying something, you still have the choice. How do I react to this? And you don't have to react immediately. You as a leader don't have to react. You as a person don't have to react immediately. If you are becoming mindful of yourself, if you are becoming aware of you as a person, if you are becoming cognizant of what my emotions are and how they are affecting me, then I am not going to just react. I'm going to know when to pause before I speak or act to create another reaction. This is you taking back control of you. This is how important these key things are for you, especially in your leadership positions. Because ultimately, from gaining these relationships, from being able to manage you as a self, from being aware of you and who you are, ultimately, what are we doing today? We're in a social space. Every one of us as leaders is busy with people on a daily basis. So social awareness becomes the third aspect of emotional intelligence. And that is very key. Because to improve you as a person, which will help to improve others around you, improving this sense of social awareness is key. And this is where you have the sense of empathy. The sense of empathy, and this sense of empathy goes back to what our Honorable Queen Elizabeth Lucas was talking about earlier, with the understanding between each other to give us peace, with what Professor TPS had spoken about as well. The point is, empathy allows for respect. When I am respecting of you, I will learn to understand you. When I am understanding you, I will learn to keep respecting you, and we grow together. And even if we misunderstand, the point is it allows us to learn to grow together, to agree we disagree about something, and then learn to understand where we're coming from to find the mutual gap, which allows us to bring peace. But that is starting with empathy. So you as a leader, you have to have this ability to understand the thoughts and feelings of yourself, and then understand these thoughts and feelings of those you are trying to manage. And the sense of empathy in you as a leader allows that. It allows that to happen so beautifully because it's important. It's important because it helps you to form this meaningful connection with those that you are trying to manage. It helps you to have meaningful connections with those around you. And it helps you to place yourself in their shoes, understand what's going on with them, for them. And when you become intelligent enough about your own emotions, when you have empathy, you are able to then understand the emotions of those you are trying to be with as well. You'll be able to see in them certain things, and that will cause your reaction to rather be more fruitful than just any form of reaction at all. It's all about the understanding, and having this sense of social awareness for me I found it makes me, it gives me a type of skill, a skill that helps me to actively listen to other people. It helps me to respond in a manner that's appropriate for that situation. And building this helps us to deal with matters. In leadership roles, we come up with so many different things that test our skill. And one of the testing skills is in terms of conflict resolution. You have got to be able to, in your leadership role, when you are managing people, learn how to resolve conflicts, whether it's your team member, whether it's your customer, whether it's even your superior or your boss. But you have to have these skills within you to know, how do I succeed? And you know what we don't have leaders do very often? They hardly ever praise people. Leaders hardly ever praise, and I always say, please try and praise the people that you are trying to manage even more. For some reason, that validity and praise to the person you are trying to manage boosts up the emotion, and their skill development then grows, and you get productivity tenfold. It's a catalyst effect. So, as a leader, praising others is also this incredibly important tool because it shows your compassion. It shows your humaneness. It shows that I'm not one of these people who thinks I'm above you. I'm with you. I appreciate you. And I am here with you. And I see you. And I really, really am appreciative of you. And when you're somebody who's working with you, I don't like to say working for you. I don't like that hierarchy. But when you have people around you that see that compassion in you, somehow they feel the sense of loyalty to you. And you will get more productivity out of them, and they themselves will learn the skill from you and want to develop who they are. Is that not what we're supposed to be doing as leaders anyway? Helping to grow people to find themselves as well, not keep them stuck in the spaces they're in. Let's help our people that we're trying to manage to grow and manage who they are so they too can become better leaders in whatever field they want to become. Because great leaders today, hard to find, very hard to find, especially the compassionate and the empathetic ones, because there's so much of greed happening in the world. There's so much of I want for me before I want for others. There's a lot that's wrong, that's negative. But when we become intelligent about emotions and empathetic and compassionate in our leadership style, we're able to see others, motivate others, inspire others, and unite individuals. Those three things about leadership and how to manage people, they're not taught. They're not taught in any school. We don't teach that in university. We don't teach that at all. These are innate skills, and we need to be able to develop them within who we are. When you attend a college, when I attended university, when I was in different working spaces, when I went and I did training programs, when I was the one sitting and getting trained from other people, is what I'm talking about. The emphasis was always on a technical skill. Emphasis is always on academia. Emphasis, even today in our classrooms in schools, is always about the report card. Emphasis is not on you as a person holistically. Emphasis is not in these spaces about how to learn about your emotions, how to handle life, how to handle people. So when it comes to progress in the workplace and managing people and career advancement, most often we're trying to just get to promote to management status. We get there because we get the technical skills, you get the certifications, you go for this course and you do that course, which is well and good. But the actual concept of how to manage, is that actually taught? I know I've sat in on business management skills programs, I've sat in on business administration programs, but do we teach our leaders when they're doing these courses how to manage themselves, how to manage people? That hardly happens. Studying HR does not help us or equate to how to manage a person. It helps us how to deal with the commonalities and the administration of having so many people in our cluster. But how to manage people is something we rarely ever find. And there's so many ways to improve leadership. There's so many ways to improve management. But focusing for me, what's key is on the sense of emotional intelligence. And that for me is the key place to start. Because remember, when you're able to measure your emotional intelligence yourself for you, seeing how it works, How is it key for you? Is it building your relations? You know, relationship management for me is absolutely crucial. And we talk about relationships all the time in our transformational, masterclass here, because relations is what we build every day. Like I said before, in every aspect of every day, there is someone you are communicating with that builds a relationship. Automatic greeting with somebody is a relationship. How are you doing that? And for me, the key for that is an empathetic leader. If you're talking about leadership, empathetic leadership for me is key in building those relationships. That relationship as an empathetic leader helps you to build trust. It grows the respect. And these are two crucial elements for strong relationships that help to build foundations to grow. Again, we go back to the understanding between two different people. If I am able to see you with empathy and understand you with empathy, I am able to want to learn more about you. When I'm able to praise people around me, I give recognition to those who are growing. You even got to give recognition to those who come out of something that's difficult. How often do we ever do that as leaders who are trying to manage people? Do we know the difficulties people that we are trying to manage are going through? Do we know that? We're so centered on wanting the productivity in our organizations. We want this profit margin. We give you this target. We want this done. But do we know what the person who's doing that for us is going through mentally, physically, at home? We're not saying we need to pry into their personal lives. It's not our job. But as long as they are working with us, for us, it is our duty to learn about them, to guide them, to be there for them, to understand. And that empathy comes in then as a leader. That's how you build a relationship with those you are trying to manage. And that's when it's so important for them to learn that from you. This is not just my boss. This is not just my superior. This is somebody who's there for me. And then loyalty doesn't even become questionable. Why? Because you have empathy within you. You have this humble sense of, these are my people, and I want to grow them. I want to help them. I want to be there for them. So when we want to improve these behaviors, automatically that kind of an emotional contact, when you get better business results, everything works all around. The impact of you as you, understanding your emotions in your role as leader is impactful directly on the business result of the people you are trying to manage. And if you look at that even within your home, a woman who is staying at home, not necessarily certified, but she's home with her children and taking care of everybody's needs. Do you know that she's also managing those people? She's managing those children. She's managing her home. She's managing everything. That's a mom. That's a woman managing her home. Who taught her those skills? Where does she study those? Somehow it's there. And I'm saying that's with every single person. These are concepts that we're bringing out in the open. But life every day is helping us to know that these things are already innate. It's within us. We owe it to ourselves now to tap into these things to become more emotionally intelligent so that we can benefit ourselves and we can benefit our teams, our companies, the people that we meet. Because building this emotional intelligence, I know for me, developed me so much within myself that I know when to say, not now. I know when to say another time. I know when to say now is good. And it didn't happen overnight. It takes work. It takes progress. It takes people like understanding a situation like last week for me. But some don't understand that, and that's okay. That too is a sign for you to become intelligent about people around you. So when you become this intelligent about yourself, you are aware of what is going on around you. I want to just ask a few questions quickly to people who are watching this. And these are questions that you have to ask yourself. And if you answer them honestly, and they will teach you where you actually need improvement with your emotional intelligence. And mind you, I may be giving the masterclass and talking to you now, but I am also still learning. I'm learning about myself every day, and I too am learning more about my emotions every day. So it's not like I know it all. I don't. But these are concepts that I know I've learned and I've worked with, and I know it works, which is why I'm feeding this to everybody to say, help yourself through it too. So these questions I'm asking, ask them to yourself and be honest about your answer, because when the honesty comes in is when you can grow. So ask yourself right now, if you do have people that you are managing, number one question, are you able to take feedback from your team without misunderstanding it? So when they give you feedback about who you are, feedback, excuse me, about how you've said something, any form of feedback or criticism, if your team has to give you criticism, do you take it with misunderstanding? Do you misinterpret it and take everything that they say personally, where it affects you and you become irritable and you become agitated because how could they speak to you like that? Is that you? If it is you, then you need to grow your emotional intelligence. And that's good. That's good because it helps you. So these may be harsh questions which you might not want to answer if you are sitting in the leadership role now, if you are managing people now, but it's key for you to know this about yourself. It's to create an awareness for you about you. So the first thing is, if you misinterpret feedback all the time and it affects you too much and you take every form of criticism personally, then you need to grow yourself with how to understand your emotions, how to understand this concept of emotional intelligence. Second question, have you been facing difficulties with how to resolve your conflicts? When your people that you are trying to manage have conflicts around them, are you able to manage their issues properly? Or do you find yourself overwhelmed as soon as that happens, that you need to, I can't deal with you and I don't know why you are like this? And do you find that blame factor comes in because you don't know how to resolve it? Do you have that within you to conflict resolve, or do you need help with it? Third question, if you have a team of people that you are trying to manage, do you see that there may be this decrease in their team motivation sometimes? Because let me say something. There was a time when I too worked for people, and there was a director of the one company who would walk in every day, and before he would get to his desk, he would greet every single person. And he would know who would not be at work, who would have lost somebody in their family. He would know everything before he got to his table. And his team was constantly motivated. I was part of that team simply because he was there, always present. I'm asking you, if you have a team around you, do you know your team? Is your team motivated when they see you? Or are they demotivated constantly? Do you have a declining team morale? If so, we know what we need to learn. Fourth question, have you been having a hard time accepting and acting on the feedback that your team gives you? So even though you have the misinterpretation of the feedback, more so you're actually resistant to what the feedback tells you about yourself. Are you that person? Are you resistant to what they're saying about you? Do you not want to change? And my last question I want to ask is, do you see turnover rates in your people that you are working with? They constantly keep wanting to leave. People keep wanting to move away from your team. You keep changing staff all the time. Do you see that? People don't want to work in the same team all the time. They want to keep going. They don't want to be there. Do you have like this increased staff turnover? And do you know why? If it's about your managerial style, are you able to accept that? Now, these are key questions. Yes, why? I'm asking it simply because for us to be able to get any form of positivity with our people that we're trying to manage, again, we have to ask ourselves, how do I manage me? How do I manage me as the manager? Being in a management position in any field, in any corporate entity, in any space, especially the business space, managing means just that. It's not just about managing to get productivity and profit. It's about managing people. It's about managing you in the role of managing people. And if you do not have the skills equipped enough to do that, then you have to learn them. And that's what makes great leadership, is when we know there's certain things about us that we need to learn. Knowing this emotional intelligence will help you to conflict resolve. It will help you to influence your culture at work. It will help you to decision make. Everything rides on this critical skill component for how do we effectively people manage. And leaders and managers need to learn how do we cultivate it. It's indispensable because today is an ever evolving and very competitive landscape for business. So if you want to be an effective leader to see that business grow and you want to manage people properly, these are skills that are important for you because nowadays people seek that. People that work with us need to learn that. And when they see it in you, they want to grow themselves too. So emotionally intelligent leaders, they have to be able to communicate effectively, they build relationships, they influence the culture, they make decisions properly, they do so much for so many. That for me, the art of being that person who can manage people is to be one of those people. Don't ever forget, you did not become the manager just like that. You were one of those people you managed before you became the manager. When you remain humble in any position, when you remain somebody who knows, I have to keep growing, I have to keep learning about myself, you will always want to be empathetic to those you work with. And I say that very humbly because the one thing people don't like is to think people are above them all the time, which is why I don't like the hierarchy that goes this way. I don't like organograms that look like that. My organogram is the flat one. It's where there's me and there's people that work with me. It's just one people. It's never about who's above me and who's below me. Doesn't work. People's mindset is all about, I want to be aligned with somebody who's with me, who's for me. And that means I got to be emotionally intelligent about me and them at the same time. That's how we keep growing. So I'm going to pause there. Thank you so much again, ma'am, for allowing me to speak today. I hope what I've said is going to reach someone to build themselves emotionally intelligently as well as, of course, manage their people more effectively too. Thank you so much. And do remember, emotional intelligence is not just about the business space. It's about you as a person in your everyday space, in your home, with your kids at school, in your communities. That's what it's all about. It's for us to just keep growing. Thank you, ma'am.
Wow, it's like you're just sharing yourself. It's like you're just just expressing yourself. It's like you are just showing the example of how you can manage your emotions, especially when it comes to emotional trauma, loss, bereavement. And I believe that is part of therapies. Do you agree
Yeah,
with me?
absolutely.
It's part,
Absolutely.
it's part, it's part of healing when you can express yourself. By the time you realize it, you will see that the level you were the last week will be far, far, the level you are now that you just delivered will be far, far better than last week. You can agree with
Absolutely.
me.
Yes, yes, for sure.
And every leader needs to have that quality and knowing and understanding emotional intelligence
Hmm.
because we are dealing with people, we are leading people, we are managing people. So we need to understand. We don't have to experience what they're experiencing, but we can show empathy. I like the way where you said that a leader must be an empathetic leader.
Yeah.
That shows that you are a human being. That
Hmm.
shows that you are real, you are genuine. That shows that you understand others as well. Because anybody, anywhere can experience the same thing and might not know what to do at that time. Some people can be led from being emotional trauma. Experiencing one kind of thing, and they can lead to mental problem,
Hmm.
mental health. It can lead to depression. It can lead to even them thinking of committing suicide.
Yes.
And that is how unique your topic it is for us to prepare ourselves as a leader to become an empathetic leader. to understand better on emotional intelligence. And I like the way you also said it's not only on business side. It's not about making profits. It's not about gaining figures. It's not about satisfying our needs. It's about solving problems.
Mm.
It's about touching lives, impacting lives. It's about making other people feel comfortable around us. Even while they are working for us, you are paying them or you are not paying them, at least you make them feel belonging.
Mm-hmm.
Make them feel that, yes, they're concerned. I mean, they matters.
Yes.
And their feelings matters as well. And that will also increase productivity.
Yes.
Because if they are happy, if they are satisfied, if they feel comfortable, then they can produce well. And also, the problem in the world can be halfway solved.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because we are all leaders. Because we are leading people. And we are influencing them. The best influence that we can get, the best influence we can give is when we respect and treat others well.
Mm-hmm.
That's what influence is all about. That you can treat them well, you can understand them better, you can respect them in respect of religion, in respect of faith and beliefs they have, in respect of what they're going through, their condition in the society, whether they lives in a city or lives in a rural area. It's very important. And I'm glad that you were able to come out of your shell, come out of your
Thank you.
comfort zone, and still deliver this powerful message. On behalf of Y.Y.C.I International, which you are also part of us, and we are proud that you are our Vice President in South Africa, we want to say thank you so much for
Thank
this
you, man. Thank
powerful
you.
presentation. And I
Thank you for
want to,
having me. And thank you for the opportunity as well. I
yes,
always say leadership is key, but leadership is not just about leading other people. We lead
yeah,
ourselves first.
yes,
And when you learn how to lead you, then you can lead others.
oh yes,
And I really appreciate the platform. I learn
yes,
all the time. So thank you so
yes.
much, man.
I'm also learning. I'm learning. In fact, my secret is the story behind this platform is for me also to learn,
Mm.
for me to get better. I mean, I was sharing just this morning with my husband and said, this Y.Y.C platform is like a therapy to me. People look
Yes.
at us as leaders as if, oh my God, but they don't know that the more you are exposed to the world, the more your problem.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And this is why I said earlier,
Mm.
many people look at us because they see us on all these global platforms and they think,
Eh,
"She's an empowerment specialist. She can never have any problems in the world."
oh no,
We
we
are
have
human
problem.
beings.
We're human being. We go through a lot because we
Yes.
didn't show it publicly. Oh well. I mean, Ambassador Professor Dr. Betty can tell you more stories about
Yes, she's amazing. She's amazing.
amazing. Even Dr. Fatai can do the same. They can tell you more stories. Even my doctor from Pakistan, Dr. Stephen, can tell you their stories too.
Yeah, yes.
Because if we combine all what we are experiencing, then we won't really, really come out of our shell to help others. And like I always say that whatever we go through, whatever we are going through is for a purpose. And one of the purpose is we'll be able to share it while we are still going through it and when we are overcoming it. So that people will know that they are not alone. Whatever we've gone through or we're going through, somebody somewhere in the part of this world is also going through it. And we are getting stronger, wiser, and better every day. And
Yes.
that's why
And
we can share.
I must say thank you to you, ma'am, for this transformational
We
masterclass because
thank
really, I
God.
think it transforms lives. It really does.
We thank God.
Absolutely
We thank
transforming
God.
lives. so many that we don't even know. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And do we want to respond to her? Dr. Stephen, you want to appreciate or ask question? Dr. Stephen, come. Okay. I think maybe he's busy because he's also going to share with us today. Dr. Betty? Okay, Dr. Stephen. Dr. Stephen,
Yes, ma'am.
you want to
I
respond
love this
to?
presentation. It was so amazing. It was so amazing. I mean, it was full of knowledge, wisdom. I loved the concept of mindfulness, which Professor Mia gave. And I love the concept of gratitude journaling. She explained that, how beneficial it is. And I love the emotional intelligence part, which she shared with us. So thank you so much, ma'am. It was an amazing and enlightening message. God bless you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
Dr.
dear.
Stephen.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Dr. Betty, Professor Dr. Betty, thank God, thank you for changing the profile's name. So, yes, you want to respond to Professor Mary?
Yes, Professor Mary, this is definitely a touchy subject to my heart and to those that I allow in my space, in my environment. I especially I took notes, as you will see, and I posted them, and some I shared on even my social media, because as a leader, and as you so eloquently position, that we have to be mindful of where we are with our emotions, especially as we are in that leadership stance. We encounter so many obstacles and challenges, and and when they come to us, we have to be in that right mind to be able to act on them. And I love how you said that, that we have to be mindful of any actions before we react to them. So I am just grateful. I would love to stay connected to you if the
Of
Queen
course.
doesn't
Yeah,
mind, because
yeah.
I want, it's like, it's not just Betty Speaks that's speaking. It's great to know that there is someone else that believes and is empowering others with that belief, that it starts with me first. I have to allow you to be in my space based on what you are bringing to me, and how you bring your stuff to me requires me to choose how I react to it. So I'm like, oh, blown away. I'm so honored that I got to hear you speak. Thank you so much, woman of grace, and I too would keep you in my prayer and in my presence. Loved everything. Thank you,
Thank
Queen,
you so
for
much.
allowing me to speak.
Thank you, the
Thank you,
Honorable Dr.
thank you.
Betty. And yes, please do keep in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. And please, can you put your email or website on the chat box? I believe Professor Dr. Betty Speaks has already put our own, is that email? No, website. She's already put our website on the platform for anyone that wants to connect with her. She's going to be our next speaker as well. And Dr. Fatai Toromade, I would like you to also drop your email on the chat box if it's possible. Or if you want to connect with all our great speakers, Dr. Stephen, Dr. Fatai, and Professor Betty, Professor Mary, please, you can contact us on yyci.academy at gmail.com, and also our previous speakers, Professor TPS and also Pastor Awodiron. So, because we are also using this platform to network, to connect, because money we cannot give you, but you need to work yourself, so we can prepare, we can create a platform for you to connect and work yourself up. That's part of the uniqueness of this program. Okay, so thank you so much, Dr. Mary. You've really lifted our spirit up and enlightened us more on emotional um, intelligence. Dr. Fatai, you want to respond to what our professor have said?
Yeah, uh, sometimes in the Yoruba people will say, ohun tí àgbàlagbà rí tó bá jókòó, bí ọmọ kékeré bá gorí igi kò ní rí. That is sometimes what an elderly sees while sitting. Even if a child gets to the zenith of height, he may not see it. And basically, because being that her expression is practical,
Mm, mm,
there are things that can be experimented.
mm,
And this is what makes it more accessible because when you go through a situation and you are able to assist yourself out of that situation based on your own experiences, that makes you a master
mhm,
because experience is the best teacher. How will you acquire knowledge if you have not experienced it? So that makes our presentation beautiful. And I hope Olodumare see her through to the end because she is a great teacher. Thanks for that presentation. I am grateful listening to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Fatai Toromade. Thank you so much. Dr. Fatai Toromade represents all our traditional royals, firstly from Africa and also world globally. So he is our ambassador for cultural and traditional and royal Y.Y.C.I. We really appreciate you, sir. I still like your attire. I like the combination of red and green. I love it. I love it. I love the materials as well. Thank you so much. I like your hat. I'm seeing you wearing a very lovely hat cap over there. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, sir. Good. Right. We need